Formula E is currently in its 7th season and Gen 3 cars are on their way. And with the talks of sustainable fuels and F1 going net carbon zero by 2030, it got me thinking, is it sustainable? Or is Formula E the future of F1? Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing the future of Formula 1 and why we might already be watching it. And if you disagree with anything I've said, why don't you jump into my Twitch streams on Fridays from 6 PM UK time. So, first up, I wanted to talk about Formula 1, more specifically its future. It's no secret that Formula 1 creates a lot of pollution throughout the year. Roughly 256,000 tonnes of CO2 emissions in a single season, in fact. But what you might not realise is that it isn't necessarily the racing cars that are really bad for the environment. Currently, they only have a 1.6 litre engine in them, something you'd find in your typical Volkswagen Golf. George Russell actually commented on this, saying that all 20 cars would only burn 20,000 litres of fuel in a race collectively. That's all 20 cars, 20,000 litres, so 1,000 litres per car. But planes burn over 200,000 litres in a single flight. So if it's not the cars that are making F1 bad for the environment, then what is it? Well, it's actually the means of transport that the teams take to get everything to the races. These teams have an enormous logistical task. Think about the facilities and spare parts each team have at each race. Chassis, engines, tools, motorhomes and other general team equipment. With the help of DHL, the logistics partner of F1, more than 1,000 tonnes of equipment worth millions of dollars is transported across the world to every race. Most of this stuff is shipped in advance at the start of the season on 5 identical cargo ships that would roughly emit the equivalent of 250 million cars worth of pollution. So think of the car that you have at home, so whatever that pollutes, but times 250 million, that's what the cargo ships that the F1 teams are transporting all their kind of team equipment with are polluting every year. So that's how bad it is for the environment for F1. It's not the cars, and that's what really surprised me, to be honest, because I would have thought, oh yeah, it's the cars. That's what people think it is, but actually it's really not. The result? A not so environmentally friendly sport, but they are making amends for this. As I said earlier, they're putting in place plans to go net carbon zero by 2030. Yeah, Jake, but what the heck does that mean? Well, net carbon zero is defined as the balance between the amount of greenhouse gas produced and the amount removed from the atmosphere. So for every kilogram of carbon dioxide that F1 produces, they will offset that somehow. I don't know how, planting trees or something, I'm not entirely sure. To aid this move of being carbon zero, they're currently in discussions with the F1 teams in using the sustainable fuels from 2025 onwards. This is what is attracting Porsche to join the sport in 2025. All teams who are looking to join F1 from then are currently having meetings with the rest of the constructors and the FIA to discuss the pros and cons of implementing this. But ultimately, it's a step towards that goal of becoming carbon zero. This brings me to Formula E, the hair dryers on steroids, the place where F1 rejects go to save their racing careers. Formula E is the first sport to have a certified net zero carbon footprint. They've invested in internationally certified projects in all race markets to offset their emissions. It's also a spec series, which means racing is better and there is more competition between the manufacturers, something Formula 1 is trying to fix with the regulation changes due to come in next year. Speaking of manufacturers, there are 9 in the sport comparing to Formula 1's measly 4. And Formula E has 12 teams compared to just 10 in F1. Although on a side note, if Porsche joins as a constructor in 2025, some more customer teams might join as well, which means we could potentially have 13 teams in F1, which would be absolutely sick. 26 cars on the grid, yes please. To add to this, Formula E is a field day for sponsors who want to lap up that environmentally aware status for their brand by sponsoring a team, meaning F1 teams have a harder time finding willing sponsors. The only downside of Formula E is the speeds and race distances, and the noise. Although they have similar acceleration times, the current Gen 2 cars can only hit a top speed of 174 miles an hour compared to Formula 1's 208. But they only manage 45-minute race distances on average, where Formula 1 has a race distance of around 90 minutes. But as battery technologies improve, we will see faster cars and longer races. I know I'm saying we, I'm not going to watch Formula E. So, is the future of F1 bright? Well, we don't know. But with car manufacturers hugely increasing their R&D in battery technology, engines could become a thing of the past. And with it, F1. Think about it. F1 is a place for car manufacturers to go and test their new technologies before they implement it into their road cars. The engines on the roads now are the best in the world thanks to Formula 1. But if batteries become the new engines, surely that means that Formula E is going to become what F1 is today. And with that thought, I end this video. Thank you very much for watching. Like, sub, go follow me on all the social media links below, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.